Jay here, Stretford Paddock, and this is it. This is the big one. United travelling away to Spurs, a top four clash. Joining me is Nick McCabe from Real Reds Talk. Thanks for coming on the channel.
Absolutely, absolute pleasure to be on every single time. So
I love that enthusiasm.
Yeah,
Keep that up.
I love it.
This preview is brought to you by BetMate, the fantasy football app. We're getting into that a little bit later on. Nick,
Yes. Sure.
Manchester United are a strange animal this season. At home, we're pretty much unbeatable. Yeah, we've beaten the Scousers, we've beaten City, we've beaten Arsenal, we've beaten Barca. Away from home, against the top 9, our record is what can only be described as abysmal.
Yeah.
Now, we've gone with the top 9 because if we actually went the top 8, it'd be horrific. But we've snuck Fulham in there because we beat them. But other than that, we've lost 6-3 to City, 3-1 to Villa, 3-2 to Arsenal, 2-0 to Newcastle, 7-0 at Anfield, 4-0 to Brentford, and then we won 2-1 at Craven Cottage. So it is a weird sort of anomaly, or not an anomaly, but it's just a weird trait that we've got, that when we go away to a really good team or a top 8 team, we struggle. Does that worry you going into a game against a side that are obviously, you know, near the top end of the table?
Yeah, there appears to be like a mental block there, don't there, whenever we do go away. And it's strange because under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we had that brilliant away record, didn't we? It was like 29 games unbeaten or something along the lines of that.
Was it like record breaking?
Yeah, record breaking under Ole. So it's a strange one under tonight. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a hostile atmosphere. Players can't deal with it in certain ways, in certain moments. But like you said, Old Trafford's been a fortress, and that's something we can cling on to the rest of the season. But
it is
be better.
It is strange, and you're right. I mean, funnily enough, our best away performance this season against a decent side was probably the draw with Barca.
Yeah,
I thought we'd turn up there. We did well.
Arsenal was all right as well.
Yeah,
I know we lost the game, but
it wasn't a terrible performance.
Yeah.
And you know, there was mitigating circumstances because I think we played midweek and they hadn't, and no Casemiro. So yeah, I understand what you're getting at there. But yeah, it's something that we are going to have to fix. Now, I mentioned earlier that this is a bit of a top 4 6-pointer. Spurs almost, not quite out of it, but they're struggling a little bit. They've had a loss at home to Bournemouth, and they had that 6-1 loss away to Newcastle. And I think the players and the club have just issued an apology and are going to refund the Spurs fans that travelled to St James's Park, which is, you know, very admirable. But they are in a bit of a dip. They've just got rid of, I think they replaced the interim manager with another interim manager.
Ryan Mason, I think, is coming.
You know, things are going well when you're replacing your interim manager with another one.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all over the gaff, aren't they, Spurs, in a minute? And this is a game that, if United win, do you feel like...
Done.
Do you feel like top 4 is there for us, or do you think that's just Spurs out of top 4?
I think it's nailed on, especially if you look at who the other teams have to play. Like Spurs have still got some tricky fixtures.
Yeah.
Liverpool will push into it, I don't know, but they've still got tricky fixtures. I think Newcastle and United, it's nailed on for them now, and especially if we win this on Thursday night, put them to the sword like Newcastle did. I'm more than confident we'll get top 4.
I like that. It's not even, you know, win. It's put them to the sword.
Put them to the sword.
Put them to the sword. Just batter them.
Fergie said you know what I mean? It's
lads,
Tottenham.
it's Tottenham.
It's Tottenham.
If we are going to put them to the sword, as you say, one player who should have something to say that is Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
He's absolutely on fire this season. I think his record is 29 games in the league, 15 goals, 4 assists. So he's creating goals for others, and he's, more importantly, he's scoring a lot of goals for us. How important do you think he could be in this game?
I think he's contributed to like 40% of our goals, something along the lines of that. So it just shows the significance, doesn't it?
Both good and bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's like, he's doing great, but we shouldn't be relying on him for almost half our goals.
The weird thing about Rashford is, I feel like he can be quiet for the full game. Like, he's not necessarily involved in it quite a lot, but you always know there's that killer moment.
Yep.
And with the Brighton game, in the last one, I thought him and Martial were quiet, so I'm hoping for a bit of a reaction on Thursday. Maybe that's something you could put into the players and expect more from you. I
like that. With all that being said, let's talk about our predicted 11s. Let's talk about yours first, Nick.
Yeah.
Talk us through your predicted 11.
I felt like the past couple of weeks it's been hard to try and predict it, but I thought Luke Shaw and Lindelof in particular were fabulous against Brighton, so I would absolutely start them again.
No Maguire.
No Maguire, no.
Obviously, but that's a bold move. But you think that's the way Erik Ten Hag's going to go? Fair play to you.
I thought Shaw would fit in most teams, to be honest. As a centre-back, they'll take him. Wan-Bissaka, because he's just been, again, in form, been fantastic. Dalot at left-back. Eriksen, Casemiro in the midfield. Not sure about Bruno. I was 50-50 with that.
Is this because the injury? The pictures? There's pictures of him with this boot on, isn't there? Like these medical boots.
So I don't know how
at the time of recording this, we don't know. So if you're watching this and there's been an update and he's
I apologise.
Or he's in, don't be trolling Nick. And make sure as well you go and check him out on Real Reds Talk, a great channel. I've been on there a few times myself. Right, so you go with Sabitzer. You're not going. You think the manager goes with Sabitzer. Are you comfortable with Sabitzer and how he performs if we are missing Bruno?
Yeah, he's had the odd game where he's, again, a little bit quiet, but you can't expect too much of him. He's had, 8 games at United, if that. Still a settling-in period, technically, but I think he provides much more quality than Fred and McTominay does, in my personal opinion. I'd go Sabitzer, Eriksen, Casemiro in the midfield. Casemiro's just obvious. And then Anthony on the right-hand side, I think he was significantly improving. He's had a lot of stick this year, but he's
I like him.
I do, because he's got the attitude for it. Yeah. The work rate off the ball, the shape he provides, he's super important.
Got a bit of swagger to him.
Yeah, he's just got a bit of bite, do you know what I mean? Which Jadon Sancho lacks, which I want to see from him.
He does. He's not that guy, is he, Sancho?
Yeah.
And you know what? The one thing I want from my wingers, even if it's an inverted winger, is just get at the opposition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Try and create something. Get your shot off, but it's usually always a shot with him. Or create something. And he constantly does that. And like you say, he does the defensive side of things as well. A very strong team, obviously missing some key players, including in defence. But I understand where you're coming from with that one. Just quickly, Dalot on left back, are you happy with that? Is that something that you're okay with?
Since Malacia putting that bit of a stinker against Sevilla when he lapsed the concentration, I don't mind if he starts, but I think just Dalot has looked comfortable. He seems to drop in there like Cancelo did for City in the midfield and can dictate it a little bit, and I quite like that going forward. So Dalot contributes quite a lot for me, and I think he can do a job at left back.
I completely agree with all that. This is my predicted 11. This is who I think Erik Ten Hag has picked. Now, the big one for me, I've gone with Bruno. I don't know, but I think he may well be fit because his injury record is phenomenal. He rarely misses games. And I think the picture of the boot we're seeing may just be
You got insider information?
I have no. I am the least ITK person on YouTube, and I wear that like a badge of honour. Now, up front, I think Martial looks off the pace at Wembley.
Agreed.
And I don't know if it's matches catching up with him because he hasn't played a lot of football. Summit, to me, didn't look 100%. So I've got with Rashford on the left, Weghorst in the middle, and Anthony on the right. I think the manager might look at this and go, Martial, let's give you half an hour. Let Wout Weghorst start the game. He's full of beans, full of energy. You don't get your goals, but he can press from the front. He also links up well with Marcus. I think Marcus maybe even gets a little bit more when Weghorst plays.
Saw that in the final, didn't we? Carabao Cup.
Yeah. So let's start the game with this, and I think we will see Martial at some point. That's my thinking. I could be wrong. Yeah. And if Martial is match fit and the manager feels he's match fit, he'll start him. He's his first choice. Yeah, number 9. Absolutely. I just think looking at that Brighton game, to me, he looked a bit knackered. I was tempted as well to rest Eriksen because I think he looks a bit goosed as well. But I feel going back to his old club, I know also he came off. I know Martial did, but he came off as well. So I just think that he'll start Christian Eriksen. But yeah, I've gone with Wout Weghorst. That's the big sort of change I've meant.
Can I ask you a question about Eriksen?
Of course you can.
Are you slightly worried about his off-the-ball work when we're in a transition? You know, whenever we played Newcastle or we played some of the big teams, his work rate off the ball for me, City away was a prime example. He's just a bit sluggish to get back. He's not as intense as and Anthony was discussing.
I think you have to look at Eriksen, and you can afford to have an Eriksen in your midfield if you've got Casemiro and Bruno there.
Yeah.
I think the trouble we had at City at the Etihad was I think Casemiro didn't start that game that he was McTominay. McTominay didn't have a very good game.
That's true.
And I think you need to get away with having Eriksen. You need someone like Bruno who can put a tackle in, who will track back, who will run his heart out, and a Casemiro who's just a defensive midfielder. It works. So whilst it can be a little bit deflating at times, you think just take a foul. Yeah. I mean, I know what you're on about. You're on about the De Bruyne run, aren't you? And I was screaming, take the foul, take a yellow. Honestly, you've got to. Yeah. Don't worry about it. And he didn't. But I think that you can forgive him because he's so good on the ball.
Unlocks Bruno as well. To be fair.
Exactly. Right, we'll talk about Spurs. Spurs are having one, aren't they? They've had back-to-back losses. Before that, they drew away at Everton when Everton went down for 10 men. I know Spurs did eventually as well, but I watched that game and Spurs were woeful. They drew at Southampton. I think they were 3-1 up with 10 minutes ago, whatever it was. I can't remember. I don't really care about the ins and outs.
No one cares about
They drew when they were winning. That's all you need to know. And they beat Nottingham Forest. They're having a bad season. Harry Kane's having a good one, though, isn't he?
Yeah, always.
24 goals. I mean, it's almost amazing, that, because it's kind of gone under the radar a little bit. It's like he's got 24 goals, which is a lot in the Premier League. 32 appearances. He plays every game, Harry Kane. The idea that he gets injured a lot is a nonsense.
Yeah.
Is it a case, do you feel now, because especially with Min Son not really being as good as he's been over the last few seasons, you stop Kane, you stop Spurs, or do you think we have to be wary of other players?
I think it's as simple as that. But the only issue is with Kane, he does create his own chances. The one goal he scored against Newcastle, that was just out of pure brilliance from him. But yeah, if you can nullify him in whatever way, I think he is. I think Son's more of a purple patch player. He tends to dip in and out. Yeah. So yeah, if you keep Harry Kane quiet, job done, easy. Job done.
Now, Harry Kane, the last game week on BetMate, got 7 points. Now, if you don't know what BetMate is, it's a fantasy football app. You don't just play against the bookies, you can play against other people as well. You play against your mates. So you pick your team, you pick 6 players from one team, it's a 7-a-side team, plus your subs. And now, we've got to deal with them. So this pot that we're going to talk about is £5 to enter, and you can win a share of £400. So kickoff is 8:15 on Thursday. So make sure you get your teams in by then, because what you can do, you can change your team right up till kickoff. 5 minutes before kickoff is when you can change your team. And in the reverse fixture, Joe Smith, who usually sits there, won 250 quid. Yeah, 250 quid. So what you do, if you want to get involved, click on the link below, sign up using Paddock 10, and if you enter the pot we're playing, which is £5, or any other paid pot, you'll receive a £10 free bet. So pay the £5, you get £10 free bet, and you can win. Listen, if Joe Smith can win 250 quid, I think there's hope for all of us. I'm going to go through our BetMate teams. Nick, you've done a team here. Let's look at it. You can see there's a little sort of eye on Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
Just we're wary, because he did look like he might have had a little bit of a knock in the FA Cup semi-final. The one Spurs player you've gone with... Oh, actually, you've got 2 Spurs. You've got Højbjerg in there as well. Why?
Yeah. I think Højbjerg is gone a little bit under the radar this season. I think he has contributed in terms of assists. He's got quite a few points. He is an important player for him, even though they've had a dramatically downfall season. Yeah. So yeah, you have to pick a couple of the Spurs players. Kane's an obvious one you're going to throw in there, and then the back line, I refuse to put a Tottenham keeper in there in the first team. Absolutely refuse. I know Hugo Lloris is at the bottom there.
Yeah, you've got to.
Yeah,
you've got to pick.
But De Gea, Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka and Lindelof been in fantastic form. And then I think the other ones speak for himself, Casemiro and Rashford.
The good thing as well about BetMate is they use Opta stats, and you get points for things like interceptions and tackles. So someone like Casemiro, even Højbjerg, could be worth a few points here. Go to my team. I've gone a bit more United-centric. I've got Anthony now. I like Anthony at a minute. You may be going, Jay, what are you doing? Why is there no Marcus Rashford? I've just changed it a little bit. I always have Marcus, and obviously I love Marcus Rashford. But I think Anthony, I fancy him for a goal this time. I actually think Casemiro might get something from a set piece.
I agree.
That's why I've gone with Casemiro. Harry Kane, a bit of a no-brainer, and then a load of losers on the bench who nobody cares about. Who are they? Yeah.
Who are they?
Right, so go and check out BetMate using the code Paddock10. There's a link in the description. Don't forget, you enter the paid pot, £5, you get a £10 free bet. Right, Nick, with everything we've discussed, give me your score prediction.
I'd absolutely love to batter him. I do think we get the job done. I think we beat him 3-1, but I expect a bit of a reaction from him. You got the manager bounce, aren't you, with bloody Ryan Mason coming in. We always seem to play teams with manager bounces.
Like the 17th time this season.
Sevilla,
yeah. They've had our opponents have got a new manager.
Yeah, so I'll go 3-1, I think.
3-1, okay. To Manchester United.
Yeah, of course. Manchester United.
Yeah. Very good. I'm going to go with 4-1 to Manchester United. I'm just saying that because you said 3-1. If you'd have said 1-0, I'd have gone 2-0. Yeah. Because I'm 12.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to go with 4-1. I'm going to go with an Anthony hat-trick and Casemiro. I've got producer Ethan. Show me what to do. I've already got my phone out. Don't worry. Yeah, but I like it. He's on it. He's a good lad. Get your phone out. Yeah. Film yourself for about 30 seconds in landscape and send us your score predictions to paddockmatchday@gmail.com, and we will use those videos as part of our pre-match build-up, because we're going to be here for the watch-along, and it's like a full-time Devils reunion, because you've got Adam McCullough and Gaz Drinkwater. You've also got Ronaldo Brown, because I'm not here. I'm down the road with my friend who's got his book launch, and Joe's away in Naples. So yeah, you've got Adam McCullough and Gaz Drinkwater running, so they'll be here for the watch-along, so make sure you check that out. Go and check out BetMate as well. well. There's a link in the description using the code PAD10. If you enter the paid pot for £5, you get a £10 free bet. Also, Nick, go and check out his channel, Real Reds Talk. Great channel, love it. I've been on there myself. There's a link in the description to that. Go and check them out as well. Nick, it's a pleasure. Always great having you on the channel.
I love it.
Yeah, I was going to say where can people find you, but we've already done that.
Real Reds.
I've already done it for you. Yeah. So you know where to find him. You know where to find me as well, Jay Marty. That's been Nick. I've been Jay. This has been the preview for the Spurs game. Thanks for watching.